Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as the case may be wherever you are. I am Madan Rehani, President of International Union for Physical and Engineering Sciences in Medicine, IUPESM. I welcome you all and I welcome all the panelists and speakers of today. We have almost 300 participants online right now, so we will get going and the participants will keep on joining with time. This is the first global virtual town hall of IUPESM, and we thought that we should create awareness about this organization amongst medical physicists and biomedical engineering colleagues. Magdalena, next slide. So we have a number of presentations and we will quickly go through that. Everyone has very short time, so there may be quite overcrowding. Next. I will start with my presentation and I will give a brief overview. Next slide. IUPESM is a society of societies, and this is an umbrella organization of two specialties, the medical physics and biomedical engineering societies. It represents more than 100,000 members. So like IOMP and IFMBE are also societies of societies. So likewise, international organizations are societies of societies. And the major two constituent societies are the IFMBE, the International Federation of Medical and Biological Engineers. You will hear more about this from the president of IFMBE, and IOMP, the International Organization of Medical Physics. You will hear more about it from the president of IOMP. With no preference for IOMP or IFMB coming first, sometime we speak with IOMP coming first, so there is no particular. We have also affiliation with the International Scientific Council, ISC, which is a little above than us. Next, please. So quickly, the main points are that how old we are. As IUPESM, 43 years old, established in 1980, most well known for the World Congress on Medical Physics and Biomedical Engineering, which is held every 3 years. And the next conference will be in Adelaide in October 2025. IUPESM does not have the regional chapters or organization, the constituent organizations have, and I will apprise you with the leadership of IUPESM. Next slide. With me as president, Shankar Krishnan is the vice president. He is from the biomedical engineering. So it so happens that we alternate. In one term, medical physics person is the president. In the next term, the biomedical engineering. So last term, the biomedical engineering professional was the president. This time, medical physics, and next term will be the biomedical. So likewise, the secretary general position also alternates. James Go was president last term. Magdalena is current secretary general. Elliot is treasurer, and Slavik was vice president in the last term. Next. We have John as the president of IUMP, who will be speaking. Vice president of IUMP is also among the officers. The secretary general of IFMBE is also among the officers. President of the IFMBE and vice presidents, they are also among the officers. Among the ordinary members elected are two from medical physics and 2 from biomedical engineering. Next. We have a Congress coordination committee, which is typically chaired by the president of IUPESM, and sometimes we have also immediate past presidents. And the membership includes from both organizations, the IFMBE as well as IOMP. So this is the current membership. So before I finish, I will mention about the next conference of the IUPESM 2025 World Congress on Medical Physics and Biomedical Engineering. It's going to be held in Adelaide, and the website is as mentioned. It's better to see the website, and you will have the call for abstract, which will be open soon, I think. I will, since Dr. Krishnan is recovering from surgery, I will have a brief mention about his part. There are two, he's chairman of the awards committee. There are two awards of merit of IUPESM, which are given every 3 years. One is for medical physics and other is for biomedical engineering. The more information about the awards can be found on the website of IUPESM. We also had from last term introduced the fellow of IUPESM, which we do not have a fixed periodicity, but two batches have been already done in the previous term, and the next announcement for next batch will be such that they will be awarded at the next World Congress. Next. So I will, we have a recording from the president of the ISC, and we will run the recording now.
As President of the International Science Council, I'd like to congratulate the International Union for Physical and Engineering Sciences and Medicine in reaching their 40th anniversary as a member of the International Science Council and its predecessor, ICSU. The International Science Council represents the amalgamation of the natural and social sciences together to be the effective voice for science. And it builds off the proud legacy of ICSU, International Council of Scientific Unions, which was formed in the 1930s and which brought academies and unions together. The union that you represent, of course, has been critical, the science it represents has been critical to the well-being of so many in the world. Physical and engineering sciences have done much, particularly in the last 50 years, to improve the health and well-being of so many people around the world through the technology that they've developed. As a biomedical scientist myself, many of my own discoveries were based on the technologies that your members have developed, and in turn, some of my own discoveries were turned into technologies that have been exploited for public good. But we're facing a time when science is less trusted than it has been for a long time, when the challenges the world faces in climate change, in human well-being, in the role of in the dislocation of society by disinformation, when the science community must re-energize its efforts for the public good. And that's why the International Science Council is increasingly focused on how it interacts with all aspects of the international multilateral system, for example, with our recent agreement with WHO to provide input into their work, our recent agreement with a number of other UN agencies, including the UN itself, to provide input, and so that we become an effective voice for science. At the same time, the science system itself may need to change to make sure that stakeholders are more engaged in our work, and that the investment in science, including basic science, continues to grow and is seen as a true investment for the future rather than as a cost. Thus, the challenges we face in representing you and the other many unions, academies and other scientific organisations need a strengthening of the ISC, and that's why we're undergoing constitutional reform at the moment so the organisation is fit for the 21st century. But in doing so, we must always remember that the ISC is only as effective as its relationship with its members are. The unions, such as your union and the other 40 unions and social science associations we have, are critical members representing the disciplinary expertise being developed and integrated at the international level. And that, alongside the transdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary expertise that comes through our academies and other members, makes us unique in the world to really make a difference. So I thank you for your long-standing membership. I hope you're seeing that the society is responding to the situation in which science finds itself. And I wish all of us, our colleagues in science, that they continue to make progress to contribute to a better world.
I will let everyone know that Magdalena Stora, who is our Secretary General, will be the moderator, and henceforward I will pass on to him. And we will have the presentation now with the President of IOMP, John Dhamilakis. Magdalena, please take over.
Thank you. Thank you, Madan. So the origins of the IOMP trace back to 1959, when a one-day discussion on the topic of international organization in the field of medical physics and biophysics took place in Munich, Germany. This event was significant as it brought together more than 80 professionals from 20 countries, laying the foundation for what would eventually become the IOMP. IOMP was formed in January 1963, initially with 4 affiliated national member organizations. May I have the next slide, please? Today, IOMP has 90 national member organizations, 6 regional organizations, representing nearly 30,000 medical physicists globally. Next slide. Several distinguished medical physicists have served in key roles within the organization, within the IOMP, as presidents, secretaries general, or committee chairs. Their expertise and leadership have played a vital role in shaping the organization and advancing the field of medical physics. And this slide here shows the backbone, the main structure of the IOMP, its committees, the science, the education and training, professional relations, publications, awards and honors, rules, nominating, and medical physics world committee. IOMP releases its electronic newsletter every 2 months, its MPW, Medical Physics World Newsletter, twice per year, and its official journal, MPI, Medical Physics International, which addresses mainly professional and training issues. We have also recognized 8 journals as official publications of IOMP, and the titles of those journals are shown here. IOMP celebrates each year the IDMP, the International Day of Medical Physics, on the 7th of November, and the IMPW, the week, the National Medical Physics Week, annually, end of April, beginning of May. Next slide. This is the final slide. Very limited time, so I had to focus on main topics. We organized 2 major scientific events, the ICMP, the International Conference on Medical Physics, and the IUPESM World Congress, jointly with the IFMBE. Madan has already mentioned about the World Congress. I'm looking forward to meeting in Mumbai in December this year, all of you, and the World Congress in Adelaide in about 2 years. Thank you.
And now I have the pleasure to introduce the president of the IFMBE, Professor Ratko Mađarević.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for introducing me, Magdalena. So I would like to say a few words on the mission of the IFMBE. The IFMBE is a learned society, and we are trying to encourage, support, and represent the worldwide medical and biological engineering community. So what we are represented currently is the largest group of biomedical engineers which joined the federation by the national or transnational societies. Next slide, please. As you can see, we have set ourselves a lot of goals, but I would say that support to innovation, to science, to research, and to development are those that are the main goals of our organization. Next slide, please. The organization was started as the International Federation for Medical Electronics in Paris in June 1955, and the first president was a well-known scientist and engineer, Vladimir Zvorkin, who set the foundation not only to the federation, but also to the journal. And the first issue of the journal Medical and Biological Engineering and Computing was issued in 1963. Next slide, please. Our membership is spread all over the world. Our organization is organized in 5 regional organizations: Europe, North America, Latin America, Africa, and Asia Pacific. And currently we have 78 affiliates to IFMBE. Next slide, please. The structure of the organization is such that the 5 officers lead the daily business of the federation, and the number of the members of Administrative Council is 21. They are elected as persons, and these persons are called ordinary members. We have a representative from each regional group, representatives from the divisions, which are for clinical engineering, health care, technology assessment, and digital health, International Academy, and also the Council of Societies. Next slide, please. The main activities at the international level is our liaisons to WHO. Next slide, please. Where we are able to introduce and promote different kind of resolutions. These resolutions are then entered in most of the legal acts in the nations who are members of the WHO. Next slide, please. We also have our representation in the World Federation of Engineering Organization, where we are the main representative responsible for the support to the third development goal on health and well-being. Next slide, please. Finally, we also have a possibility to influence some of the policy makers, like the European Parliament, where we have yearly meetings with the representatives of the Parliament, and also have a possibility to propose some of the regulations in health care, health informatics, and education in biomedical engineering. Thank you very much for your attention.
Our next presentation is from the former president of the IUPESM, Professor James Goh, who is currently chair of the nominating committee. The current president, Dr. Rehani, will present on behalf of James Goh.
Thank you, Magdalena. Yesterday, we received email from James that someone in the near one died, so he cannot come. So he had provided the slide. As you can know briefly, that Dr. Goh is biomedical engineer by profession, and he works in Singapore. And he chairs the nominating committee, and this has been in the bylaws that immediate past president chairs the nominating committee. The nominating committee nominates at least one candidate for each position on the councils, and these names are submitted to the assembly, and then they are finalized at the World Congress. So the chair and the members are listed. As you can see, the president of IOMP, president of IFMB, and secretary generals of the both organizations are the members. And this was a short presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce the immediate past vice president, Professor Slavik Tabakov, who is chairing the Rules Committee presently.
Thank you, Magdalena. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Slavik Tabakov. I was the previous past president, the previous vice president of the IUPESM and the past president of the IOMP. I am from King's College London. So I'm now chairing the Rules Committee, and the Rules Committee was founded in 2018 at the World Congress in Prague because we had to update the contracts for World Congress in the future, and also we had to make a new nomination procedure for the IUPESM. It was necessary also to review and update the statutes and bylaws of the IUPESM, which were actually untouched since the creation of our organization in 1980. And the Rules Committee were including myself as inaugural chair, and Professor Colin Orton and Professor Kei Chung, who are medical physicists from USA and from Hong Kong, and Professor Ratko Mađarijević and Professor James Goh representing IFMBE, and you heard their presentations. We did all this by 2020, and we started a new task. This new task was to arrange the legal status of IUPESM. This was a huge task which has never been before, and until that moment, IUPESM was a very respectful organization, international organization, but didn't have its legal status. So a working group was formed. I was leading it together with Steve Keevil, Leandro Piquet from UK, Ratko Mađarijević, Sally Hawking, and Fiona McCune from the IPM in the UK, and Professor James Goh. And we first had to additionally update the statutes and bylaws of IUPESM in order to allow to form a company, which is under the General Assembly of the IUPESM, but working as the business and legal hand of the IUPESM. And there was detailed discussions with the legal advisors, how to do it with Administrative Council members, etc. And finally, we prepared the draft documents to register the IUPESM company. There was a whole voting of the IUPESM General Assembly from all countries, and we succeeded just last year in 22, in May, to register the company, and the company is registered with headquarters in York in the UK, where is also IOMP hosted. Then you could see here the moment from the presenting the plaque, placing the plaque in the front of the IUPESM. Next slide, please. So now the new IUPESM Rules Committee is chaired by me, and the members are again Professor Kei Chung and Professor Colin Orton, medical physicist, and Professor Lenkel Hotska and Professor K.P. Lin, who are representing IFMBE. The duties now of the Rules Committee, which is now a standing committee of the IUPESM, are to regularly review the statutes and bylaws and the policies and the procedures of the IUPESM, and to make recommendations for changes in order to meet the good governance of the organization. The task which we completed until now was a small update of the IUPESM bylaws. We also were arranging the documents related to the common accounts of the IUPESM company, and we also made small changes into the current contract with the World Congress. And we also advised the formation of the several new working groups of the IUPESM, which you show here at the moment. So this is the work of the Rules Committee of the IUPESM, and thank you for your attention.
I would like now to introduce the treasurer of the IUPESM, Dr. Elliot Vernet. Elliot, the floor is yours.
Hello. I want to notice that there are different mechanisms to found IUPEMs. One of the main is the due of their members, IFMBE and IOMP, and the royalty for the journal that we have. My main responsibilities are to take care of the finance of IUPESM, and the two other responsibilities to the preparation of the annual budget and the annual and to get an audited statement of our accounts. Next, please. So as Professor Slavic told us, the IUPESM is a company based on UK. So our contracts are mainly in UK. So we are different contracts with IUPESM as member of International Science Council. We get help from IPM. They are our administrative and financial support. We have our review contract for our taxes, the publication from Springer, and we have some bank service that we have to pay. So we have two main accounts, one in euros and the other in sterling. And we are making our accounts review for the year 2022, and we finally get in February our budget approved with this council. Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot. And now I shall introduce myself, as well as Professor Leandro Pechia. We are both Secretary Generals of the constituent organizations, that is the IOMP and the IFMBE. And as such, we are leading the IUPESM Public and International Relations Committee. So a very brief presentation on behalf of this committee. The IUPESM Public and International Relations Committee is a committee which is charged with the mission to contribute to the advancement of medical physics and biomedical engineering globally. And we do this by communicating with our members and partners, and we disseminate information of the interest to the global medical physics and biomedical engineering community. We also seek out information of use for the IUPESM members, which includes officers, chairs, Congress presidents, representatives of the regional organizations, etc. And the committee assists IUPESM to improve the visibility of their organization by handling marketing and publication activities. And we also assist IUPESM actively to achieve the global goals of the organization. And we have prepared here another slide with the major activities of the Public and International Relations Committee during this term. Generally, our major involvement is associated with the World Congress, but apart from this, we have conducted a few more activities. The leadership of the committee participated in the midterm meeting of the International Science Council and also in the European Health Tech Summit. We also recently organized a webinar on the ChatGPT, which was a joint activity of the IOMP, IUPESM, and the International Science Council. And of course, part of our daily duties is the support for the IUPESM website, social media, and the creation and dissemination of marketing material. So with this, I shall stop this presentation and will introduce the next speakers, Professor Loredana Marco and Professor Lenka Hoska, who are co-chairing the very important Women in Medical Physics and Biomedical Engineering group under the IUPESM.
Thank you very much, Magdalena, for this introduction. And I couldn't agree more. I also consider this task group a very important one, as one of our roles is to try to mediatize both medical physics and biomedical engineering fields among females throughout the world, and try as much as possible to encourage their education as well as professional developments in these fields, because as we know, certain continents are not that fortunate to have a good representatives in medical physics and biomedical engineering among women. Now, we are a very active task group, and among our activities, I would like to mention some of the fairly recent ones from the last year's World Congress in Singapore, where our task group organized 3 workshops that were very well attended on various tasks, as you can see on board, on leadership and collaboration, on grant writing and publishing in today's world, which was again very well attended. And also it was a very topical subject, the impact of COVID on gender-related home office in STEM fields. Next, please. In this regard, our task group has developed and conducted a very large survey that was sent out throughout the world. We have received nearly 1,000 individual responses regarding the way this pandemic affected those working from home, whether clinicians like medical physicists working in clinics or academics. Next one, thank you. Based on the survey results, we have published several articles, and some data, some qualitative data is still processed currently, and we are planning to publish some other papers out of this survey that you can read. But we didn't stop just with the survey. As I said, we are a fairly active committee, and we try always to put together some information that might be useful to the medical physics and biomedical engineering community, not just to females, but both genders, on various aspects, from science diplomacy in medical physics to solutions to gender balance in STEM fields, how we can support, train, educate, and mentor females in order to assist them pursuing these careers. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Loredana. And now, in order to be in line with the latest trends in medical physics and biomedical engineering, IUPESM recently created the task group on artificial intelligence. So I have the pleasure to introduce Professor John Danilakis and Professor Subrata Saha, who are co-chairing this task group.
Thank you, Magdalena. On behalf of this task group, I will provide some information. AI is shaking up the world. By using AI in healthcare, we can make better decisions, as you all know, based on more accurate information, produce better images with lower dose, develop new treatments, and so on. So this is a powerful tool for research, but there are also numerous current applications and use cases. More use cases will emerge in the future. Can I have the previous slide, please? I'm not going to give a talk on AI, of course. I will only briefly describe a current application as an example, a method that has already been incorporated into computer tomography systems, the deep learning reconstruction. The deep learning CT reconstruction is a supervised learning process where the input data is a CT image generated by low quality, noisy sinogram, CT sinogram. The output image is compared with the ground truth image to find differences. So the deep learning network learns by adjusting various parameters such as high contrast resolution, low contrast resolution, image noise, CT number, accuracy, and so on. So the goal is to get through the training process an output image that is similar to ground truth. And I have the next slide. Medical physicists and biomedical engineers should stay updated about the AI applications, such as the one I described previously. So this task group will monitor and review the uses of AI. And this is possible, of course, only by reviewing the scientific literature. This is a new task group, as Magdalena mentioned, very recent. So we'll provide an overview, a concise overview to medical physicists and biomedical engineers regarding the advancements in AI within the field of medicine. The frequency is twice per year to draft a report and share it with you. And this slide also shows the members of the task group, which is coordinated by Dr. Subrata Saha and myself. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrew Nisbet, and I am the Head of Medical Physics and Biomedical Engineering at University College London. I am co-chairing the task group on integrated medical physics and biomedical engineering actions with my fellow co-chair, Madan Rehani. The other members of this task group are listed on the slide. The aims of this task group are to identify the status of joint medical physics and biomedical engineering departments worldwide, hopefully to identify the potential advantages or disadvantages of joint departments in terms of relevant outputs in different sectors, with a focus being on both hospital and academic departments. We also aim to identify potential hurdles that may be existing in creating such departments. In terms of progress to date, the task group held its first meeting on the 31st of May, where a draft survey questionnaire was agreed and completed. The idea is that the survey will be distributed using the REDCap survey platform, which is a secure environment. In terms of progress, we are currently progressing through the University College London ethics route to have formal ethics approval to complete and carry out the survey, with the aim to circulate the survey to members of the IUPESM within the next month. In terms of future work, the outputs of the task group, we hope to present the results at the IUPESM World Congress. Ideally, we would like to be able to publish the results in a peer-reviewed, in an appropriate peer-reviewed journal, such that the data is available for respective centres to benchmark themselves against. The timelines are such that we hope to complete the survey by the end of the calendar year, the end of 2023 at the latest, with analysis of the data followed again by the very latest by spring 2024. So thank you for your attention.
And I would like to introduce now Professor K.P. Lin, who is co-chair of the IUPESM task group, which we call Medical Engineering and Physics Workshop.
Hi, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. I would like to present the workshop, which is very interesting for many medical physics and biomedical engineering. This workshop is initial around 2019, and it's focused on the experiment sharing, networking, and the cooperation between biomedical engineering and the medical physics. The workshop was hosted as part of the leading medical physics and the biomedical engineering events, supported by the partner organizations. The activity will focus on the common professional strategies, bring the expertise on site, and see the scene for future collaborations. And in the past several years, from 2019 to 2022, we have the first medical physics and the biomedical engineering workshops hosted by the ICBHI in Taipei. and then hosted in the ICE HTMC in Rome. And unfortunately, we organized two the workshops in Russia and in Slovenia, but just because the COVID-19, we postponed the third and the fourth. From 2022, we restart the workshop, and it's in Singapore, and it's a hybrid conference workshop. And then we have a Asia Ocean Congress for Medical Physics established in Taipei, and then we have an Asian Pacific Medical and Biology Engineering established in Suzhou, China. Those activities has a very successful discussions. We were going to have the eighth medical engineering physics workshop is to be decided in next year, and we definitely will have the 9th and the 10th workshop in Tainan, Taiwan, and Adelaide, Australia. Next slide. So this is the activity. We have 8 speakers, 4 from the biomedical engineering and 4 from medical physics. It's has around 40 people participate this workshop in Taipei. And next, we have a very successful workshop in Suzhou, China. It's a goal with the Asian Pacific Medical and Biology Engineering. The total participant for this Congress is around thousands people. And for our medical physics and the biomedical engineering work Congress, the participant in this room is around hundreds people. Many medical physics and biomedical engineering, I enjoyed our discussions. Next. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next presentation is from Dr. Mark Nyssen, who is the chair of the IUPESM Data Committee, and also he is the IUPESM representative in the CoData.
Thank you, and good day to everybody. I want to draw your attention on the activity that we have now together with the International Science Council. In fact, there are 2 entities which are occupied with data. The one is called WDS, World Data System, and the other one is CoData. Both entities are in fact involved, and they will have the International Data Week, which is every 3 years, organized every 3 years. This year it will be in October, and I'm happy to be proposed as a member of the CoData committee. I must say that the connections with IFMBE and the IOMP are not completely equal. At the moment, the connection with the IFMBE goes via Paulo Carvalho and the Digital Health Division, and the IOMP links are somewhat less active at the moment. I propose 2 activities, and I'm open for others. The first activity is to see 2 methods to reuse in an appropriate way the medical data for research purposes. And this is mainly for involving long-term follow-up and detection of side effects. Of course, taking into account the privacy of the individual persons. And the second activity would be related to foster the sharing of research data and to have mechanisms to reward the researchers who share open data. So these are 2 activities I propose, and I'm open for other suggestions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mark. And now I have the pleasure again to introduce myself, this time in my capacity as a co-editor-in-chief of the official IUPESM journal, Health and Technology. And we are co-editing the journal together with Professor KP Lim. So Health and Technology is not only the official IUPESM journal, which is published by Springer, but it is published in cooperation with the World Health Organization. It is a cross-disciplinary journal, and our publications are related to health technologies, but also we are trying to address all the professional relations to other professions working in the field of health care and health technology. We present and discuss, of course, the hot subjects, including but not limited to patient safety, patient empowerment, disease surveillance and management, e-health, data security, privacy, reliability and management, data mining, knowledge exchange, health prevention, medical, financial, social, educational, and safety aspects of health technologies, and of course, health technology assessment and management. And we consider the Health and Technology Journal a communicative source for the health workers, but we also find it very useful for hospital managers, healthcare providers, regulatory agencies, the medical technology industry, as well as patients associations, the academia, research institutes, and professional, scientific, and technical organizations. Of course, the medical physicists and the biomedical engineers are the primary focus of our journal, and we encourage all of them to submit their manuscripts to the journal, not only for their own colleagues, but also to submit manuscripts that are directed to other groups of readers, as well as the general public. With this, I would like to show you the latest journal's performance and announce that as of last year, the journal received its official impact factor from Clarivate, which for the year 2022 is 2.5. And I would like to thank for your attention and also introduce the next speaker, Professor Ratko Mađarević, who is also a chair of the Union Journal Committee. Ratko, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Magdalena. So I'm in the position to speak for the second time now as the chair of the Union Journal Committee. So I will first like to thank Magdalena and KP for their efforts to improve the journal, which they actually did through the last 3 or 4 years. The growth of the journal can be really seen from the numbers, and all the credits for this success really go to both of them. What does the Journal Committee do? The Journal Committee is trying to help in some of the decisions, policy decisions on the journal. And I believe that we are actually the moderator between the publisher, which is Springer Nature, and the IUPESM in all the issues that regard the development of the journal. This is, I must say, a very slow process. Getting the impact factor was a fight that lasted for several years. Magdalena and KP achieved to reach this goal to be included into the bibliographic databases, which now guarantee that in the next years we will also get the journal in the Web of Science database. As I said, the committee is trying to help in achieving these goals by negotiating with the publisher and by bringing some of the resources from the membership of the IFMBE in terms of associate editors, deputy editors, reviewers, and that is also a process that take some time, but I hope that we will be even more successful in the forthcoming years. Thank you very much. I'm giving the floor back to you, Magdalena.
Thank you very much, Ratko. And this was actually the last speaker for today. And we shall proceed with the moderated discussion, which will take place during the last 10 minutes of today's webinar. So we have received a number of questions in our chat and in the Q&A portion of the webinar, and I have tried to collect and combine a few of them. So the first question that we have received is related to the organizational outreach, but it also shows that we need to work closer with the individual medical physicists and biomedical engineers to better understand the mission and the activities of the IUPESM. So I'm going to direct this question to the president, Dr. Rihani. And the question is coming from Ashanafi Hussein, who is asking if IUPESM has any plans to consider Africa in the future. And the comment associated with this question is that IFMBE has already done it.
Thank you, Magdalena. Thank you for the questioners. I have tried to answer more than half of the questions in the QA itself. So we have much fewer questions left from that point of view. Coming back to this question, as I briefly mentioned in the beginning, that IUPESM is essentially coming from what we get from IOMP and IFMBE. So the presidents, vice president, secretary general, and even the ordinary members, which are nominated by these two constituent organizations, they come up into the IUPESM. So our constituents are the one who determine who are the persons. And since there are typically 6 regions of the world and we have 2 members from IOMP, 2 from IFMBE, out of these 2, they can represent 2 regions, not the 6 regions. So sometime it may happen that we don't have Africa, but other times we have all Africa. So it all depends on what the IFMBE and IUMP. So certainly we are more than in the task groups we have, like Mario is in our task group on the task group from Africa. So we do have all the time representative from the Africa. Since the time is short, I can quickly touch upon the 2 main questions which are there in the Q&A. One pertains to the cooperation between the biomedical engineers and medical physics, and other pertains to the certificates. So certainly the cooperation is encouraged and should be encouraged. And we always want the regional conferences which are organized by the regional bodies of IFMBE and IUMP to have also sessions or joint events with the corresponding other colleagues. So Arun Chogle had, I think, 2 times put up this in the, and that's very welcome suggestion. So we will only say that IUPESM encourages this. What we can do is from IUPESM, we can send a note, email to the both constituent organizations so that they can encourage their regional organization. To the certificate, the system automatically detects full time present of 60 minutes and then it gives certificates. Magdalena, you can say something more about the certificate part.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam. The current IUPESM Global Town Hall is actually hosted by the IOMP as part of its webinars platform, which was introduced during the COVID years, and up to now has successfully managed to conduct nearly 70 webinars with hundreds and thousands of participants. So certification with associated CME or CPD points is a subject of attendance. And as we announced initially, CPD certificates are available only for those who attended the webinars in full. And since the last year, we have a fully automated system that tracks registrations and attendance. And the certificates are again automatically issued based on these numbers. So the individual certificates will be available at the IOMP website in about 1 to 2 hours after the end of today's meeting. And everyone can download the certificate directly from the website just by following the on-screen instructions at the certificates download page. I hope this information is sufficient for everyone.
I see there is a question: due to financial constraints, I have not been able to advance my career in MSc Medical Physics. I would like to know if the organization's financial aid for candidates interested in medical physics. I will let Dr. John Damilakis look into this. Maybe John can say a few words on this.
Can you please say again, Madan, the question?
The question is, Kinsley Levy Ade is the one who is asking the question. Due to financial constraints, I have not been able to advance my career in MSc Medical Physics. I would like to know if the organization financial aid for candidate interested in medical physics.
Yeah, so we are talking about grants.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have these grants. We have several other activities, awards, but providing financial support to students to do their MSc studies, for example, no, the IOMP does not support financially students.
I think the IAEA is the best resource for that. And I don't know if IFMB has something similar. I doubt if IFMB. Ratko, please.
Yes, thank you. Well, we do have some kind of a support for undergraduate students, graduate students, and doctoral students. These are somehow not grants, but some kind of a travel support or some other kind of a support. But for those who actively support some of the activities of the IFMBE. So we do not give scholarship for studies, but if IFMBE is organizing some summer school or similar activities, then there is always a few scholarship open for students, mainly from low and middle income countries.
Thank you. I see. Do you have programs for the grant in research? The short answer is no. Then another question: how do one become member of Peter? How does one become member? If you are member of IFMBE or IOMP or their constituent national organizations, you are automatically member of the international organizations, and that constitute IUPESM. So IUPESM does not have the individual member organizations. As I said in the very beginning, IUPESM is a society of societies. So our membership is societies, not individuals. I think with that, I have looked through all the questions, and I suppose we have attended to every question there. I did not look at the chat because chat is typically for social interactions. So if somebody has a question in the chat, they should put in the QA. And now that the time is over, we may miss, you can write email to us and we will attend to the questions. Otherwise, in the QA, we have attended to all the questions.